I mean, as an artist, I'm either an idiot or a genius.
Because you also all work separately from each other on own things. Is it sometimes then that maybe when you have such a break that you get surprised again by one of the band members, or are you surprised?
I think there's one of course, because I'm in another band which is also a very good band and has a Dutch drummer. So you know. What can I say? I think it's really important to understand that you do the things you do wholeheartedly in the moment that you're doing them, and understand the internal logic of each thing. I think the thing that educated me the most, I think in 2009 was a session I did with Tortoise. It's a BBC Three programme, Radio 3, and a band invites someone to play with them that they don't know, that they're going to try to do a sort of collaboration at the moment. And it was like, so because it was kind of quite fresh and it was something like that was not planned and we just worked out in the studio, I understood very well how I could operate in a completely different band to one that any of the other ones that I'm playing in. And I start to see this is the logic. You have to understand the logic of each grouping in order to work within that grouping. And it's really important. Just because the lineups are similar in terms of the instrumentation, the people are really different. I know it's the most obvious thing in the world. It's different because there's different people in it. And actually the way I have to be is different in everything. You know, I mean, like with that thing with Tortoise, I'm more like a catalyst. Mm-hmm. I mean, they can all play way better than I can. I mean, in Gethead, it's much more of a collaboration from the ground up. We write together, whereas Wired doesn't write together because it doesn't have any history of it and is not that good at it. But what it's great at is interpretation. Once it has a song, any song, or it can even be the most simple set of instructions, then it will fly. And that's always been the case with Wire. But it took a long time to really understand that. And once you understand how everything works, then you have to do the appropriate work for each thing. It seems all kind of logical and like boom, 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 but those are hard-won things that you've just arrived at by just thinking about. I just think about the people I work with, and really, honestly, there's no other thought than how to get the very best out of everything.
Can you recall the moment where everything fell into place? That you said it took a long time to understand that. Is that?
Yeah, it was probably sitting in a van on the Gethead tour. Okay. Almost certainly. I have, you know, and you know, I mean, I've you know, come up with similar plans for Gethead on Wire tours. You know, it's just like the way that the bands bounce off each other in my head. It's just like, it's just all context. You know, my approaches are very, very organic. I just actually don't know what I'm doing most of the time. I mean, I always say, I mean, as an artist, I'm either an idiot or a genius, but I have no idea. The artistic process, in the moment, I don't know anything about, and I don't really want to know anything about it. It just happens. What makes you into like a real artist, I think, is actually lots of people are inspired, but you have to understand which bits were good. Because if you don't know that, then what you do, it's just unedited stuff. Some of which is brilliant and some of which is rubbish.
But how much do you say for say an album? How much other sonic material is there recorded that is?
Well, there was one thing which was pretty advanced, which I insisted on dropping, and there was another one which kind of got to a point where everyone just thought, nah, let's move on from that. It was a bit of discussion about the one that I felt on dropping, but it was just in the wrong key, ultimately. And it was one that was actually not written on acoustic guitar. It was written on. I came with the riff on electric guitar and fitted the vocal later. And somehow, because of doing that process, it wasn't as organic. It's a great piece, and we will do a good version of it at some point. But just figure it out.